FARMVIEW with Kieran O'Connor on WLR.
Brought to you by GlanviaConnect.com.
Hello and welcome to FARMVIEW. Well, as usual, it's Kieran O'Connor here with your weekly farming programme. Well, on this week's show, I'll preview the very first virtual farm walk and webinar in Waterford. It takes place next week on the award-winning Hearne Family Farm in Rathgormack. We'll also hear how Waterford man Michael Broderick has developed a new trading platform for beef farmers and processors, Tradeforus. And finally, on this week's programme, I'll talk to Liam MacDonald to hear how COVID has affected his Dungarvan-based cider company, Legacy Cider. And plus, as always, this week, we welcome back our farming calendar.
FARMVIEW with Kieran O'Connor on WLR.
With GlanviaConnect.com, Ireland's biggest online farming shop and more.
Well, on Tuesday next, Teagasc will hold a National Quality Milk webinar in association with the NDC, Arnua and Glanbia Ireland. A huge event for dairy farmers, not alone in Waterford in the southeast, but right across Ireland. Well, to look ahead to the big event, we're joined by two people very much involved in next week's event. It's the Teagasc advisor for the Hearne family, and that's Seamus Carney, and also the Glanbia Ireland's Milk Quality Manager, and that's Brendan Walsh. First of all, Seamus, a huge day next Tuesday, but it's a webinar. It's something different for guys, but I think a lot of guys at this stage are well in tune with what's involved.
Yeah, I suppose naturally, Kieran, with COVID-19 at the minute, we kind of can't go out and farm for a farm walk, so I suppose the option this year was to go with a virtual farm walk. So the plan is there'll be a virtual farm walk, a webinar from 11 to 12, Kieran, and that'll actually cover 5 topics. A lot of them why Kieran, Hearne and family won the NDC and Kerry Gold Award last year. So the topics that will be covered on the day are the environment and biodiversity, which Kieran is very strong on, labour and labour efficiency, he's herd breeding and EBI, he's animal welfare and calf rearing, and also then as well he's dry cow management and selective dry cow then as well.
Winning that National Quality Milk Award, the NDC Kerry Gold National Quality Milk Award, it's really the creme de la creme of dairy farmers that are nominated, and secondly to win, a huge achievement for the Hearne family.
Yeah, absolutely, Kieran. And look, I suppose just to be cognizant, I suppose when Kieran came back farming in 1992, he had 28 cows on the farm, very much into his breeding quality all the way through grassland management, and I suppose they heard a reward for what they've done over the years, but they're now making 200 cows for 2020, but quality has been the main thing with Kieran and his family the whole way through.
So despite the huge expansion, quality maintained key for the Hearnes.
Absolutely, and I suppose quality in breeding and the milk quality, Kieran, milk price and good solids has driven, I suppose, efficiency and economic environment for Kieran to be able to expand.
Brendan Walsh, the Quality Milk Manager for the Hearne family, obviously being nominated by Glanbia with a huge number of suppliers within Glanbia was huge, but then to go on and win the overall, a huge boost not alone for the Hearnes but for Glanbia Ireland.
Oh, exactly, Kieran. Yeah, we had 2 nominations. In fact, actually, we had Kieran and Pat Kiley, and both of them were up against 11 other candidates from the different processors. And as with every other year, the competition is always quite tight. But Kieran Hearne came out on top, right. And I suppose it was great. It's great recognition for Kieran and for ourselves and Glanbia that we had a winner in 2019. As
regards the milk quality, what made the Hearne family stand out?
I suppose their quality all through the years has been consistently good is the key. Right back through the years, quality has always kind of rang true in how they farm.
And is routine and procedure key to all? Routine.
So I suppose Kieran would have spoken to me early in 2019 with the changeover to chlorine-free detergents, looking for a routine to suit him. So since then, Kieran has stuck with the recommended routine. He's followed it as per the instructions, and that's key to keeping quality consistent.
Now, as regards the actual quality milk, that of course people realise without quality milk, without a quality raw material, from a Glanbia point of view, it's paramount, and really the bar has been rising year on year.
Yeah, I suppose what would have won this competition maybe 10 years ago probably wouldn't win it today, but equally the previous winners have probably upped their game, and the game continues to, I suppose, to keep striving towards better quality.
Turning to Seamus, as regards the actual management there, of course, Kieran and the Hearne family and his wife Anne, and indeed the family very much involved. They're no strangers to awards, and of course won the EBI awards not once but twice. So really, from a breeding point of view, he's really top of the game as well.
Yeah, look, I suppose Kieran back in 2005 and 6, Kieran was actually the Munster winner of the EBI 100 competition, it was called at the time. And I suppose since then, Kieran has actually one of the top herds in the country at this stage, and he has several bulls on the ICBF active bull list. I suppose an add-on to the farm, he actually sells breeding bulls at this stage that I suppose he's breeding coming through other farms, looking for bulls, maybe for heifers, or for tidying up their own herds later on the year as well. So very good from a breeding point of view.
Now, obviously at the moment, sustainability, environment, biodiversity is key, and despite the expansion and this quality milk herd that we have on the Hearne family, also very key is the environment and biodiversity element of it as well.
Yeah, look, I suppose the fact that he's a good EBI herd, Kieran, he's getting over 500 kilos of milk solids per cow. He's in the top 10% of the country. He's nearly 300 days at grass. Both Kieran has been planting hedges and trees for the last 20 years on farm, again trying to encourage biodiversity and protecting the environment. He's fenced off all the streams, his bridges across where any cows are crossing water courses. He's using the trail and shoe the last 3 or 4 years before it had to be used. He's using protected urea, so very cognizant of his surroundings, his environment, and doing all the environmental positive things on dairy farms.
Now, as you say, it's a huge disappointment because of COVID that you can't have a farm walk on his farm, but huge effort going in. As regards the format next Tuesday morning, you might tell our listeners how to get involved, and as regards the format it'll take, and we'll talk to Brendan about how actually people log on.
Well, the plan is, Kieran, Kieran will actually be taking over the Teagasc Twitter account, so that's the at Teagasc Twitter account, and also the Teagasc Instagram account pretty much throughout the day. But there will also be a webinar then, so we'll be broadcasting live off the farm for more or less a 1 hour farm walk.
And what format will it actually take? What will people see when they tune in?
So when the farmers tune in, basically the plan on the morning is that we'll have Kieran there to answer all questions. There's a format we'll be covering a bit on labour, calf rearing, EBI, milk quality, and
who's on the panel?
The panel then will be David Gleeson will be the moderator. So from Moore Park, you'll have Brendan Welch then, he's milk quality manager, Kieran Hearne and myself then will be 3 panellists that will be asked the questions on the day. So farmers will also get the opportunity on the webinar, they can type in questions that will be asked out to Kieran or ourselves live on the morning.
So turning to Brendan, how do guys log on, and do you want people to log on the morning, or do they need to do it literally straight away, or what's the format and where do they go to log on?
So to view the webinar, you can register beforehand. So registration is open beforehand now on the Teagasc website. So if people log into teagasc.ie/virtual milk walk, they can register there, or through the Teagasc website and into the events section.
And you're kicking off at 11. How long roughly do you expect it to take?
Kicking off at 11, and it should be an hour.
So once again, it's an ideal opportunity for seeing the very best of dairy farming in Ireland. It's our NDC Kerrygold National Quality Award winner. It's the Hearne family, Kieran and his wife Anne, on Tuesday next. And indeed, for more information, as you say, look up the Teagasc website. It's www.teagasc.ie events, and indeed you'll get all the information there. Brendan Walsh, Quality Manager, Seamus Carney, the advisor for Teagasc for the Hearne family. Lads, the best of luck on Tuesday next. I'm sure we'll have a huge uptake, not alone from Waterford in the South East, but across the country for this open day, the first virtual farm walk in Waterford on Tuesday next. Well, great news recently when a Waterford man has developed a new trading platform for beef farmers and processors alike called Tradeforus. It's a new agri-trading platform, and Tradeforus allows farmers and meat processors to buy and sell livestock online, which delivers huge savings and efficiencies. And joining us on the line is a co-founder of Tradeforus from Mount Stewart in County Waterford, Michael Broderick. Michael, welcome to our programme.
Thank you very much, Kieran. Thanks for having me.
Michael, as I said in the intro, of course, you're a Mount Stewart man yourself. You might tell our listeners a little bit about your background at home.
Yeah, we are 3 brothers farming in Mount Stewart. Grew up there from, obviously, a dairy science background myself, went to UCC, and I've worked in food business for over 30 years up until recently, and then I suppose I got some time then to put into making this project happen, which we're really excited about.
As I said in the intro, really, for a long while within the beef industry, we saw it coming to a head last year, the whole area of trust, transparency, and indeed, guys, the meat processors and farmers alike. So really, this is a platform that suits both the farmers themselves and the meat processors. So you might outline where you got the idea from and the real benefits of it, Michael.
Okay, well, this is something that's been the offering, I guess, for over 12 months. There's a lot of programming and design done into it, Kieran, and it's coincidental, I suppose, that it comes on stream now. And there is really a new focus on technology, and you see that in the marks and so on. The idea for this really is, I suppose, to speak plainly, there is a bit of an imbalance in the trading transaction that takes place, certainly between meat processors and farmers. What we do and what we're attempting to do here is to bring and to enable farmers to come together, maybe to form their own producer organisations and to trade collectively and basically derive a benefit in price from so doing. You'll remember the many protests that took place during the latter end of 2019. Whether it's real or not, there is a perception that farmers are not getting a fair price for their produce. All participants are obviously influenced by market forces, but we believe, I suppose, by bringing a collective dimension through our platform where farmers can tell us what they want to sell, tell us the details of the grade, the weight, and so on of their cattle. We provide them with a dashboard that tells them the current price that's available, and they tell us when the date between when they want to sell their cattle, and we take that and we can do the trading on their behalf and sell their cattle. When the cattle are sold, we will communicate to them who we sold them to, and we will provide all details electronically to, let's say, for example, it's a meat processor that buys the cattle. We're a fully secure platform. We've approved for AIM usage, and we're also currently developing a link with Borbia. There are over 53,000 farmers, I think, nationally that have Borbia quality approval. So we flag all of that through the platform. And what we would say is that we enable the purchasers to give a better price by virtue of the fact that somebody sitting in a meat processing or a procurement office can actually sit at the computer and order 200 steers of whatever grade and weight that they require. And in addition, we enable them, once we give them the list of where the cattle are purchased, to do the whole collection process in a much more efficient way, and we look to get the price passed back to the farmer and the benefit.
Michael, currently, of course, a lot of the beef and animals are sourced directly for Irish beef farmers from an agent or so. Where does that fit in as regards the plant inspecting the cattle that are on offer?
Well, there is a view out there that a lot of farmers know when their animals are ready to go to slaughter. And even with the best will in the world, and farmers will testify to the fact that, they're told an animal is this grade and this fat score, and when they are actually slaughtered, they turn out to be something else. We will put in place a service whereby we can take a photograph or a video of the cattle, and that's shared with a person in our business that will look at the cattle versus the grade that the farmer has uploaded, and we'll verify that, it's there or thereabouts. So in terms of, the ongoing, this won't be for everybody, and that's a fact. People will have relationships with their own agents, and that's absolutely fine. However, if people want a better price, things have to change. The dynamic has to change. The method by which things are done will have to change, because meat processors can't pay more money if they're driven by market forces. So we believe that this is more efficient, less time consuming, it's cheaper than the current offering. A farmer today has no agent. The agent is an employee of the purchaser, be that a meat processor. We will change that dynamic, and we will become, I suppose, an advocate, and our job is to get a better price. And Michael,
as regards price, does the farmer kind of set an asking price, and then does the purchaser or meat plant come back and agree or disagree, and obviously tell the farmer the kind of certain age, weight or grade that they want? How does that dynamic work?
Okay, well, I suppose one of the big topics of discussion all through the latter end of last year, Kieran, was the whole area of transparency on price. The way the system works is, if there is a meat processor, for example, who wants to order 200 steers and they're based in Waterford, they can sit at their desk, place that order and put in a bid price. On the other side, sitting in our system, we will have all the animals that have been uploaded by the farmers that are members of the platform, and we have a dashboard that will tell them the current available price on cattle that are being traded. And in addition, they will also have access to the published prices that are published by the Department of Agriculture, and they're all within our platform. And as the farmer will put his minimum price, and we will match that up then, and there will be a deal made between the trader picking up the phone and maybe eking out that last 4 or 5 cents and transferring it to the farmer.
As regards meat processors then, have you spoken to most of them at this stage, which I'm sure you have, and what type of uptake are you getting from the processors themselves on this new Tradeforus system?
We are in our launch phase, Kieran, and only on Friday last week had a communications meeting with Meat Industry Ireland, and we've told them our story, and we are now embarking on going around the country and meeting the various people who process and slaughter cattle. And but our reaction, I have to say, from any coverage and that we've had so far has been quite positive. I mean,
right.
You know, these people are business people, and anything that brings efficiency, I think I've yet to see a business person turn their back on efficiency. So we believe that it is an enhancement to the way things are done
Exactly.
today.
Michael, then of course there's a cost in all of this for Tradeforus and for the farmer and indeed the beef processor. How does it work, or what costs are involved here?
The cost €2 plus that, and the cost for the buyer is €2 plus that. And what we're doing in that transaction is we're sitting in the middle. We're an enabler, and it's cheaper than any method that's out there today. And a couple of other dimensions to the platform, Kieran, we haven't touched on, is it is a huge enabler of producer organisations. There is no admin tool today available to farmers. If 100 of them or 50 of them want to get together, they're like-minded and they want to trade together. We enable them very quickly to form a formal or informal grouping, and a factory can place orders readily against that group.
So a purchasing group or a discussion group, whatever number, can get involved as a group as an individual.
Absolutely. And if you take another dimension to the market at the moment is live exports. Live exporters have a real issue in gathering up stock to meet orders. When we onboard the farmers, we ask them what type of cattle that we speak to every farmer that engages with us and to understand what they're producing, and we record that in our system.
Brilliant.
So if we have a request for an order, we can readily target our farmers to say, look, we've an order for 500 of whatever type of store cattle or whatever type of cattle it is, to fulfill an export order very, very quickly.
Well, Michael, listen, I think it's a fantastic concept. Delighted to see a Waterford man to the fore on this one, developing, of course, a new online system really for livestock, for farmers and meat processors to buy and sell livestock online, delivering huge savings and, of course, efficiencies and transparency as well. To find out more, I suppose, get onto the Tradeforus website. Michael's best option, is it?
That's it, yeah. www.tradeforus.com, or you can phone us on 045 853 494.
Michael, listen, look, well done. We'll keep in touch. I know you're literally only at the launch phase, but so far, and having read through what's involved, I think it's a fantastic concept. I wish you and all involved the very best of luck. That's Michael Broderick, of course, co-founder of Tradeforus. Michael, thanks for taking our call. Stay in touch and we can keep updating our listeners on the success of Tradeforus going forward.
Thank you very much, Kieran, and thanks for having me.
FarmView with Kieran O'Connor on WLR.
With GlanbiaConnect.com. Thousands of products in the palm of your hand.
And you're welcome back to part 2. Read Brian Rohan on our programme recently. Embrace Farm Annual Remembrance Service, because the service this year will take place online this Sunday morning on the Embrace Farm website, and also it's live on RTE1 television. Of course, Embrace Farm was set up by the Rohan family for those who tragically have lost loved ones through a farm accident, and indeed who suffered serious injury through a farm accident. Indeed, our family know all about it too well at the moment. Well, the service this Sunday takes place, as I said earlier, 11 o'clock on Sunday morning, live on RTE1 TV and also on the Embrace Farm website.
FarmView with Kieran O'Connor on WLR.
With GlanbiaConnect.com. Ireland's biggest online farming shop and more.
Well, one of the big success stories in County Waterford over the last number of years in the food and drink industry has been the success story of Legacy Cider, based in Dungarvan. So earlier in the week I went along to the headquarters of Legacy Cider in Dungarvan and spoke to the man himself, Liam MacDonald. First of all, Liam, obviously like everyone in the food and drink industry, the effect of COVID-19, what type of effect did it have on the business here?
Kieran, like a lot of people in the drinks industry, we had a drop-off of all of the pubs, restaurants and hotels. So that was exactly the same for me. Now, it depends on how you were based in the on-trade or the off-trade. But for me, I was 60% in the on-trade, which is all of the pubs, restaurants and hotels. So that just completely stopped. It was, as you can imagine, it was an absolute shock. I spent the month of March just trying to figure out what I was going to do. But eventually we kind of figured it out, and we just said the best thing to do is to channel as much as we can through the off-trade.
And how well has that gone?
Oh, that's
has there been a big uplift there?
Yeah, there's been a big uplift. But in particular, I suppose there's two angles to it. First of all, the trade themselves were very supportive. We got a lot of support from Dungarvan, Tramore, Waterford City, Kilmac, Kilmeaden, all of the off licences there in the supermarkets. They've been great. But not only that, it's the consumers as well. More of the consumers now were kind of just saying buy local, support local, because they could see the I suppose, the pressure that all of us businesses were under. So that was one thing. The second thing that we did then is I just got in the van, loaded it up, and I drove all the way up Cork, Dublin, went to as many places as I could, and just tried to make up that deficit.
And of course, it's been a great success story. Of course, your family are steeped in the legacy, of course, coming from the fact that MacDonald originally, of course, from Tallow. I know you're based here in Dungarvan, but the legacy really is going back generations.
Oh, it is, yeah. And you mentioned tallow there. Now, my dad is, of course, a very avid tallow man, and I suppose once a tallow man, always a tallow man. You never leave that. So, yeah, like my granddad had the orchard up in the Bright Valley Fruit Farm there.
Great Wilsey.
Outside. Yeah, the Great Wilsey, exactly. The boss is what they call him. And then Willie, his son, is after taking over that now, and Paul has taken over that. And Dad, of course, was had an orchard up there, and now he's got the nursery. He grows his own coronet miniature apple tree. We're very proud of that. And then, of course, I'm stepping in there and taking on the legacy.
So literally keeping up the legacy. And just quickly on your dad, what he achieved with that cornet over the years, he really developed this miniature apple tree that literally could be put out in a balcony in the middle of any city, outside an apartment or wherever. And that has been a huge success.
Oh, Kieran, it's been a huge success, and it's so underplayed. But like, Dad is brilliant. Like he's 76 now this year, but he's still playing it on. And the business had got a bit kind of too big for him to handle himself, so he's scaled it back. He took the international side out of it. He's just looking at the Irish market now, but he's still there, and he's now working on social media, and he's plugging it, and he's still driving on. So brilliant, you know.
So the corners, what a success story. I have one of them at home, and I couldn't believe the size of the apples that came from it. As regards the brewery here, or do you call this place a brewery?
Well, no, it's a cidery. Actually, like, there's so few cideries in the country now, but like, people would refer to it as a brewery or a distillery. It's actually a cidery, and we make our cidery like a winery. Right. So it's the same process. We get all of the fresh apple juice, we ferment that, store it then mature it for about 6 months, and then it's ready to sell then after that.
As regards legacy, and I spoke to you when you set up 5-6 years ago at this stage, as regards breaking in, taking on the big guns, obviously Bulmers, Synonymous and Magners and all these big brands, but definitely you've made great inroads. But recently you were telling me just before we come here that you've actually joined up with someone else in the cider industry from the Kilkenny or Clonmel South Tip area.
Yes, exactly. So we've joined up with Longways Cider, and he's based in Carrick-on-Suir, and again, he's like me, Kieran. He started up about 6 years ago, and he's had his kind of a customers. I've had my customers. We're basically kind of competing with each other. Two of us would get on very well. James would be very strong in the production side of it, an excellent cider maker, and I'd be strong on the sales side of it and the production as well. So look, we decided, what's the point?
So obviously you've actually increased the range. It's business as usual for both Legacy and indeed Longways as well.
Yes.
But obviously you've increased your range. And looking at it here, you've 5 beautiful ciders now as an offering.
Exactly. So there's 5 ciders now, and it's a lot better option or offering for me going into new outlets.
And has that helped going into a shop having that range?
Huge, Kieran. Like, look at it there now. So but I mean, my 2 ciders are quite traditional. I have a dry and a medium, and then his ciders, he's got an elderflower, a sweet Katie, and a medium dry. They don't compete with each other, and it just gives the consumer a better offering. So it's been good all round, thank God.
As regards the cidery here, as regards the vats, and I see you have some timber caskets as well. How long does it take to ferment, or is it longer, the better, a bit like wine, or is there a time scale on it?
Well, again, through experience, it depends on the apple. So some of the eating apples that we use, traditional Katies and the Elstars, you give them about a year, 18 months, and they're maxed out at that. So you need to move them on before that stage. The other ones then, the bittersweet ones, they could last up to 2 or 3 years. We're using the bittersweet now inside in the wooden casks. They're after coming from Jameson, and oh my God,
has that made a difference?
Oh, geez, the flavour of them, the taste of them, it gives you that kind of smokiness, vanilla, kind of a burnt a flavour to them, and they're working out really well.
Well, Liam, as a cider drinker myself with my old celiac problem, I definitely think that what you've achieved here is fantastic, and delighted that Longways and yourself, that James O'Donoghue and Clonmel and yourself have joined forces. 2 families steeped in the apple tradition, and I'm sure your late granddad Wilsey O'Donnell will be very proud of what you're keeping going here, and I'm delighted as well that really the retail business have really roared in behind you, and I'm sure like everyone you're looking forward to the pubs, restaurants and hotels reopening.
Brilliant. Yeah, well, Kieran, I am looking forward to the pubs, the hotels and the restaurants reopening for the business, but I can tell you one thing, I would certainly enjoy a pint sitting down now inside Murray's or wherever it is and have a nice pint in front of me. I think we're all going to look forward to that.
Liam, to you and all involved in Legacy Cider, congrats, well done. Keep up the good work, and we'll talk to you in the near future.
Okay, thanks, Kieran.
And before we go, a look at our farming calendar. Don't forget the very first virtual farm walk, indeed webinar as well, will take place on the Hearne Family in Rathgormack on Tuesday next from 11 o'clock on Tuesday morning. For more information, look up the Teagasc website. Turning to our marts, great to see the marts up and running again this Saturday morning. Cattle and calf sales at Waterford Ross Mart in New Ross from 10 o'clock. While on Monday at Dungarvan Mart, we've cattle and calf sales from 11 o'clock on Monday morning. And remember also that all sales are now also online at livestocklive.com, with bids taken from both ringside, indeed online as well. To our farmer markets, indeed country markets, this Saturday and every Saturday morning we've Waterford Farmers Market, John Roberts Square, and also on Saturday morning, of course, we've the Stradbally Farmers Market now trading outdoors. This Sunday, and great to see the Lismore Farmers Market back in action at Castle Avenue, Lismore, running every Sunday now from 10 until 4. While on Thursday is Dungarvan Farmers Market every Thursday morning in Grattan Square. While on Friday mornings we've Waterford Country Markets in St Olaf's Hall. To our show jumping front, Shannakill House Equestrian Centre Kilmax, Horse and Pony Leagues are back up and running. Pony Leagues every Friday evening from 5, while Horse Leagues every Wednesday also from 5. While the Beachfield Equestrian Centre in Kappa, their Horse and Pony Leagues are also up and running every Saturday from 10 in the morning and Thursday evenings from 5. Also, before we go on our racing front, great return to National Hunt Racing on Monday last for Waterford Connections. Queely family from Kappa with Bernie Queely owned and Declan Queely trained and ridden winner of the Mayor's Hurdle, while in the bumper, Tremor owner breeder Anne Roach with her son David Roach in the saddle of their own bred horse was in the winner's enclosure, with trained locally by Henry de Bromhead, and Henry also had a nice winner at Roscommon as well. While also during the week at Navan we'll win for Dunmore owner Jim Power, also Kilmac owner breeder Demi O'Byrne, while Cross Channel Kappa jock Tom Queely at Kempton had a nice winner to round off a great week indeed for the Queely family. Well, that's my lot for this week's programme. Once again, a huge thanks to Ollie and Sean for all their help in putting this week's programme together. So from myself, Kieran O'Connor, stay safe, and hopefully I'll have your company again same time next week.
FARMVIEW with Kieran O'Connor on WLR.
With GlanviaConnect.com. Thousands of products in the palm of your hand.